Hello, this is Julian with Coffea Reviews, and today we'll be doing another blind taste test rankings video. Now, the way these videos work, for anybody that's not seen one of our previous blind taste test rankings videos, is we have 8 cups of coffee over here, and we have 8 bags of coffee over here. We're trying to identify which of these cups is which of these bags based off of taste alone. Then we're going to be ranking them in order of our favorite to our least favorite. And there's a theme behind each and every one of these videos, and the theme behind this one is revisiting Coffea Circulor, as it's been over a year since I've last reviewed any of their coffees. And what prompted this purchase was Coffea Circulor releasing a couple of Hacienda La Esmeralda coffees, one washed and a natural one, both of which will be featured in this blind taste test rankings video. So let's go ahead and introduce the coffees that will be featured in this video, beginning with the Alo Bembe, a natural processed Ethiopian coffee. Then we have the Bishop R11, a wash processed Kenyan coffee, the Kiburi wash processed Ethiopia, the Oxyco Batian, a coffee cherry center processed Kenyan coffee, the Romo, a natural anaerobic processed Colombian coffee, the Batian, the natural processed Kenyan coffee, and last, the Velo, both the washed and natural processed Panamanian geishas. All right, let's get this started. This is the most amount of coffees we've ever had in a blind taste test rankings video, so I need to move these out of the way. And as always, none of these cups are labeled anywhere except on the bottom. We just like to shuffle them around for good measure, as it also gives us an opportunity to discuss what we have on our hands here today. And this one will be a very tricky one, as we have 3 Kenyan coffees, and for anybody that's familiar with Coffea Circulor's Kenyan coffees, you know that they can be some of the most unique and out there coffees in general, so that in itself is going to be tricky to navigate. And then outside of that, we have 5 processed coffees, 3 wash processed coffees, 2 of which are pretty classic wash, but one that wash processed Kenyan coffee probably won't act like a wash processed coffee, so I'm not entirely sure what to make of that. Big favorite going into this one is obviously going to be the Panamanian geisha, and then outside of that, probably going to be the wash processed Ethiopian coffee, but I really have no idea what to expect from this one, as I do believe it'll probably be difficult, and I will be happy if I get the wash processed coffees right, and if I happen to mix up the more processed coffees, I will not feel bad. I would be very happy with like a 6 out of 8 or a 7. I guess that's impossible to do 7 out of 8, but like a 6 out of 8 or even like a 5 out of 8, something like that will work well for me. But let's go ahead and we'll shuffle them around one more time. And if you're wondering why we have a natural anaerobic processed Colombian coffee, a handful of these were samples given to us. So that natural anaerobic Colombian coffee is one of them. The Kenyan coffees, the wash processed and then the coffee cherry center processed one were both also samples. The rest of them are coffees that I'm not sure if we're going to review all of them. I know for sure we'll be reviewing the Panamanian geishas, but as far as the Batian goes, I don't know about that one. Definitely the Panamanian and the Ethiopian coffees will get a review. All right, so I'm gonna navigate through these, try to find the more processed coffees so I can taste the wash processed ones beforehand. So let's go ahead and start right here, cup number 1. And no very intense distinguishable aroma to this one, so it's possibly one of our washed. Let's give it a shot. I'd imagine so. Not necessarily the most intense, but it's actually quite nice. I have no issue with this one. I'm going to place it right here for right now. I feel like that could be a decent contender to win this, but let's go ahead and move on to cup number 2. This one has a little bit more of an aroma. I think this is possibly one of our processed coffees, so I'm going to hold on to it for right now. Cup number 3. This one definitely has some level of processing to it, so that's unfortunate. It didn't have that strong of an aroma, but you can definitely taste a fair bit of that. So I'm going to place it right here for right now. I definitely like this one more. This one is one of our processed coffees too, so I think these are both 2 of our processed coffees. Let's go ahead and move on to cup number 4. This one also has a pretty strong aroma. I'm going to guess that this is another one of our processed coffees, so I think we have 3 of them right here. Cup number 5. Okay, this one is possibly one of our washed. I do think it is, but it's a little bit tame. So I'm going to place it here for right now. I definitely enjoyed this one more. This one's still my 3rd favorite of the 3 that we've had. Let's go ahead and move on to cup number, I guess this would be 6. This one has a little bit of a tomato-like characteristic to it. It could be our washed. Yeah, this one's very tomatoey. I still will place it above the one that we had right here. So that processed coffee. It could be one of two things. It could be our washed Kenyan, or it could be that coffee cherry Kenyan coffee. So that's the way we have them for right now. Cup number 7. This one definitely has some sort of processing to it. It's not bad though. I'm going to place it here for right now. And then the final one, cup number 8. And this one definitely has some processing to it. Okay. Unfortunate that I took a second sip, but I think that of these 4, we have our wash processed coffees, and then the rest are going to be our more processed coffees. So I'm going to try to navigate which one is my favorite of these 4, and then from that point, try to see where I want to place every other coffee after that. So we'll go back to this one right here, cup number 1. Okay. Could be one of two things I'm thinking. This one's pretty delicate and tame, and I think it's a little unfortunate that I've had this coffee after I've had a number of the rest. So I think one of these is our Panamanian Gesha, and one of them is the wash processed Ethiopia. This one right here is pretty bright. This one right here is pretty tomatoey. Okay. I think I'm not entirely sure on these ones, but we'll go ahead and revisit them here shortly. I'm going to try to figure out the last 4. Oh man, this one's got a very strong kind of Coffea Circulor, that IPA hops, that bergamot-like quality to it. So it's either our Kenyan coffee or it is the natural processed Ethiopia. And the reason I say that is because when brewing these coffees, the natural processed Ethiopian coffee had that very intense sort of bergamot, hopsy taste to it, or aroma to it. I like this one actually. This one's growing on me. This one also has that. I think that this one's going to be our natural Ethiopia though, mostly because it does feel a little bit cleaner. Okay, and then the final 2. Yep. Okay, that one also has that strange hopsy bergamot quality to it. And yeah, this one right here, probably my least favorite. All right, I'm gonna be completely honest. I have no clue what the vast majority of these coffees are. I have just some wild out there guesses. So I guess we'll go through them one by one, and I will take guesses mostly because I don't have the slightest idea what any of these coffees are, to be completely honest. So let's go through them. That's going to be one of those two. It's going to be our washed Panama or washed Ethiopia. I keep flipping back and forth between these two, which one I think is which. I like the finish of this one a little bit better. I think I'm going to go that way. All right. Our washed Panama and our washed Ethiopia. I have so many bags here. Okay, and now these 3. I think still this is one of our Kenyan coffees. I might move it down though. I think that's our natural Ethiopia. And I'm really not too sure on this one. This one's turning out a little bit brighter than it did earlier on. I'm going to switch these 2. I'll say natural Ethiopia. And then also Kenya, the coffee cherries in Kenya. Okay, and then these final three. Man, that's got that very, very strong sort of bergamot quality to it. It has to be one of those Kenyan coffees, I imagine. I think this one's Ruby Batian, and I also think I'm gonna move it up. Yeah, whatever this one is, I think it's my least favorite. Okay. I said that this one I think is Ruby Batian. I think that this is probably going to be our anaerobic natural. I think this is going to be our other Kenyan coffee. And possibly our natural Panamanian coffee. Okay. Not confident whatsoever. Let's see how we did. I'm happy with 6 out of 8. But this one right here I said was our natural anaerobic Colombia, so it should say NAC. Okay. Off to a good start. And that continues to show that I really don't like natural anaerobic processed Colombian coffees. It's not that bad. It's not that heavily processed. It's not that red fruit forward, but it's not necessarily my thing. It's just kind of a generic brightness, and I think that could be because the coffee has cooled down. Okay, let's move on. This one right here I said was our, really I said it was our washed, so it could be. Let's see here, WK for washed Kenya. Okay. Okay. Now I just really hope these two are correct, because if the rest are wrong, I don't really care. But yes, that one is our wash processed Kenyan coffee. I've had that coffee before, and it has always tasted that weird sort of hopsy IPA sort of taste to it. Okay, this one right here I said was Ruby Batian, so it should say NK. Wow, I'm so happy that I'm doing this so far. Okay, yes, Ruby Batian. It clicked. When I took a sip of this one, I said, yeah, this is what Ruby Batian was in the past. It has improved a lot as it's cooled down, so I'm very happy that I got this one right. This is the coffee I'm most familiar with on this table. Okay, there's still a chance. So this one right here I said was our natural Panama, so it should say NP. I'm stunned. All right, perfect. So this coffee I have the highest expectations for of our natural or processed coffees. I think what kind of stood about this one was that it did feel a little bit cleaner than the other processed coffees here, but let's go through the rest. So this one right here, I said was our coffee cherry center, so it should say CCK, or CK, yeah. And this one tastes so tomato-like. That was the giveaway that it was one of the Kenyan coffees, and from what I remember, Ruby Batian isn't tomato whatsoever. The other one, the wash processed Kenya, wasn't tomato-like. I think I've had this one before too, and it was pretty tomato-like, but all right, moment of truth. I'm confident on this one now, so it should be our natural Ethiopia, so NE. And I said that I kind of cheated in the way that I knew that the natural processed Ethiopian coffee was very bergamot, hopsy, citric IPA sort of hopsy to it. So this one and this one actually have a pretty similar, interesting profile to them. This one just feels a little cleaner. It also feels a little bit more Ethiopian-like in terms of the body. Okay, moment of truth. I've flip-flopped these two back and forth. I honestly just hope I got it right, but this one right here I said was our washed Ethiopia, so it should say WE. All right, yeah, I'm very happy with the results. Yes, our wash processed Ethiopia, and that means that this one right here is our wash processed Panama. It improved a lot as it cooled down. I'm gonna be completely honest, it wasn't necessarily the best right off the bat, but I do think that it is my favorite of the bunch. I'm actually really happy with the way that I ranked them, but I'm even happier with the fact that I got them all right. So, I mean, cut your losses while you're at your best. So I'm gonna leave this blind taste test rankings video at that. As mentioned, not reviewing this one, not reviewing the Kenyan, might review this one, probably going to based off of this try. And then of course the ones that did finish at the top, with the exception of the Kenyan coffee, I will be reviewing. Obviously I don't review free coffee, and given that the ones we received, this one and that one were samples, I can't review them, but the rest of them we'll most likely have reviews for. Definitely the Panamanian coffees, definitely the Ethiopian coffees. I'm going to leave this blind taste test rankings video at that. As I always say, if you guys enjoy the content, give this video a like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Also, give the video a thumbs up, given that these videos are by far the most fun to do, but they definitely take the most amount of effort as well. All right, this right here has been a blind taste test rankings video featuring 8 Coffea Circulor coffees. Thank you for watching.